Hey NFL fans, before we dive into today's hottest stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update from NFL News Now. The Philadelphia Eagles are once again at the center of NFL conversation, and it's not just because they're defending champions or because they've managed to keep themselves near the top of the NFC standings. No, what's stirring the pot this time is wide receiver A.J. Brown, the ultra-talented, fiery, and sometimes polarizing star whose name has quietly floated around the league's rumor mill. Despite whispers of tension and speculation that rival teams might sniff an opportunity, reports have now made it clear. The Eagles have informed other clubs that their top wide receiver is not available. That's right. No trade, no chance, not before the November 4th deadline. But the story doesn't end there, because when it comes to A.J. Brown and the Eagles, the surface rarely tells the full story. Let's rewind a little. Over the past few weeks, there's been this simmering undercurrent of drama involving Brown's role in the Eagles' offense. It all started when the wideout was visibly frustrated on the sidelines, caught by cameras showing body language that fans and analysts love to dissect frame by frame. It wasn't a blow-up, but it was enough to get people talking. Reports emerged suggesting that Brown wasn't exactly thrilled with how often the ball was coming his way, or maybe more accurately, how often it wasn't. For a player of his caliber, one of the league's best and most productive receivers since arriving in Philadelphia, those feelings make sense. You can't give a lion half a meal and expect him not to roar. But credit where it's due. Since that moment, Brown has let his play do the talking. His breakout performance against Minnesota, where he put up over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, was the kind of statement game that reminds everyone why he's indispensable to this franchise. Still, as good as that was, the question lingers. Is everything truly settled between A.J. Brown and the Eagles? The short answer, probably not entirely. Other teams are watching, and watching closely. They see the cracks, however small, and they're wondering if Philadelphia might blink. Remember, this is the same front office that's never been afraid to make bold moves. Howie Roseman has a reputation across the NFL as a general manager who's both aggressive and opportunistic. If there's a deal to be made that he believes makes the team better in the long run, he'll make it. But this time, the math doesn't work in favor of moving Brown. Philadelphia is still a contender, still chasing another Super Bowl, and taking away their number one receiver mid-season would be one of the most shocking and self-sabotaging trades in modern NFL history. Diana Rossini of The Athletic reported that the Eagles have no plans to move Brown before the trade deadline, and that tracks with what insiders are saying. The message from Philadelphia's front office is clear. A.J. Brown is staying put. They're committed to him, at least for now. But the thing about NFL seasons is that, for now, can change quickly. Let's be honest, this isn't just about 2025. The Eagles' entire roster structure, their contracts, their window of contention, it all revolves around what happens next season and beyond. They've built a team designed not just to win now, but to sustain success. And in that sense, A.J. Brown's value to them isn't just on Sundays. He's part of the identity, the culture, the swagger of the modern Eagles. And yet, the internal tension over his role isn't imaginary. The numbers tell a fascinating story. Brown currently has 51 targets through 7 games, which actually puts him on pace for more than last year's 97. So, in pure volume, he's not being neglected. But football isn't math, it's rhythm. In 2022, Brown was targeted 145 times. In 2023, that number climbed to 158. That's the workload of a true alpha, a receiver who dictates defensive game plans. This season's projected 123 or so targets is respectable, but still below what he's accustomed to. For a competitor like him, that matters. He wants to be the focal point, not one of several. And when you've got Devonta Smith breaking out for 183 yards in a single game, it's easy to see how Brown might feel his dominance is being diluted. It's not that the Eagles' offense has fallen off. It's just evolved. The addition of Saquon Barkley this offseason was supposed to make them more balanced, maybe even unstoppable. The problem? Barkley hasn't been Barkley. After torching defenses for over 2,000 yards last year, he struggled to find rhythm behind an inconsistent offensive line, averaging just 3.3 yards per carry and totaling only 369 yards through 7 weeks. That's not the kind of production you expect when you make a running back the first $20 million per year player at his position. As a result, the Eagles have leaned more heavily on the passing game, and yet somehow, Brown still feels underutilized. It's a paradox, and it's feeding the tension. From a contract standpoint, the situation is also complex. Brown's 3-year, $96 million extension, which runs through the 2029 season, gives the Eagles some long-term control, but also plenty of flexibility thanks to those ever-tricky void years and option bonuses. His 2026 salary is already guaranteed, but the 2027 trigger, a modest $4 million if he's still on the roster by the third day of the league year, gives the team an out. It's the kind of contract structure that keeps both sides honest. It rewards performance, but doesn't handcuff the franchise if things go sideways. And let's be real, if the Eagles ever did entertain trading him, the return would be enormous. We're talking multiple high draft picks, maybe even a player or two. A receiver-needy team wouldn't hesitate to take on that deal if it meant landing an elite target in his prime. But Philadelphia knows that Brown's value extends beyond numbers and cap hits. He's an emotional heartbeat for this team. When he's engaged, when he's motivated, when he's fed, the energy he brings to that offense is unmatched. His physical style, his swagger, his confidence, it sets a tone. When he and Jalen Hurts are in sync, they look almost unstoppable. And when they're not, the entire offense feels different, less explosive, more predictable. That's why the Eagles can't afford to lose him, not just in terms of talent, but chemistry. Brown is the kind of player who can single-handedly shift the vibe in a locker room, for better or worse. And make no mistake, the rest of the NFL knows it. Teams have been calling. They called in the offseason, and they're still calling now. Front offices around the league are like sharks circling, waiting to see if there's even a hint of blood in the water. But the Eagles, at least for now, aren't biting. They've shut down those conversations, confident that their best path to success includes A.J. Brown catching passes in midnight green. That said, the situation bears watching. Because if the Eagles' season takes a turn, if the offense stumbles, or if the frustrations bubble up again, you can bet those phone calls will start coming in louder and more often once the 2026 offseason rolls around. What's fascinating here is how delicate the balance is. The Eagles are a powerhouse, loaded with talent, but they're also a team with personalities, big ones. Managing egos and expectations is part of what makes championship teams either thrive or implode. Right now, they're threading that needle. They're keeping Brown happy enough to produce, keeping Hurts confident enough to spread the ball around, and keeping the locker room unified. But it's a long season, and pressure changes everything. The longer the Eagles go without rediscovering their dominant run game, the more they'll need Brown and Smith to carry the load. And with that comes more targets, more opportunities, and potentially more drama. So as the trade deadline approaches, fans can exhale knowing that A.J. Brown isn't going anywhere. But that doesn't mean the story's over. In fact, it might just be entering a new chapter. Because even when he's catching touchdowns and smiling on the sideline, there's always that edge, that sense that he wants more, that he expects more. And honestly, that's what makes him great. The Eagles wouldn't be the same without him, and they know it. The other 31 teams might want to believe there's a chance to pry him loose, but for now, the answer is clear. A.J. Brown belongs to Philadelphia. Whether that's still true a year from now, that's a question for another offseason. But as of today, the message is loud and unmistakable. The Eagles are all in on keeping their star, and the rest of the NFL will just have to wait. Keep watching as we analyze more details about some rumors. The NFL world is buzzing, and if you blinked, you might have missed one of the most shocking moves of the season. The Philadelphia Eagles have reportedly snagged none other than DeMarvion Overshown, the talented linebacker who has been a thorn in the Cowboys' side. And insiders suggest this is not just a signing. This is a statement. Rumors first started circulating late last night, with whispers coming from sources close to the Eagles' locker room that the front office has been quietly orchestrating a deal that could redefine their defense heading into the championship hunt. Overshown, known for his explosive tackles, agility in coverage, and uncanny ability to read plays before they even unfold, has been on the radar of every team that craves defensive dominance. Yet, the Eagles swooped in at precisely the right moment, igniting speculation that they are not merely satisfied with playoff appearances, they are aiming straight for the title. The mere idea of DeMarvion leaving the Cowboys, a team he's practically been synonymous with since his breakout seasons, has Cowboys fans clutching their hats in disbelief, while Eagles supporters are already envisioning a defense that could become downright legendary. The buzz isn't just about the transaction itself. It's about the strategic brilliance behind it. Analysts are pointing out that Overshown's skill set perfectly complements what the Eagles have been building over the past few seasons. With a linebacking core that already boasts depth and versatility, adding Overshown feels like the final piece of a puzzle that has been tantalizingly close to completion. Rumors suggest that Eagles head coach has been personally involved in discussions, meticulously analyzing game tape from Overshown's past matchups, particularly those intense Cowboys games where he made everyone sit up and take notice. Imagine the scenario: a linebacker who knows how to dismantle the very plays the Cowboys rely on, now wearing midnight green instead of star-spangled blue. The psychological edge alone is enough to send shivers down opposing quarterback spines. And sources close to the locker room hint that the Eagles' leadership sees this as more than just a single-season gain. They envision Overshown as the cornerstone of a defense that could dominate the league for years to come. This isn't a signing. It's a declaration of intent. Of course, the Cowboys' locker room isn't silent either. Rumors suggest that there is palpable tension following Overshown's decision, with some players reportedly feeling blindsided by the loss of a key defensive anchor. Coaches are said to be scrambling to fill the void, but insiders admit that replacing someone of Overshown's caliber is no easy task. The move has instantly become a talking point in sports media circles, with debates raging over the implications for the NFC East. Can the Cowboys recover from such a blow, or has the Eagles just tilted the balance of power decisively in their favor? Pundits are suggesting that this signing signals a shift in momentum, an audacious play that could reshape playoff expectations entirely. Social media, as expected, has exploded, with fans dissecting every angle, from the potential on-field synergy with current Eagles stars to the historic rivalry implications. The hashtag Overshown to Eagles has been trending since the news broke, and videos of him making game-changing tackles are now being recut with Eagles highlights, fueling feverish speculation about what his debut could look like. Adding fuel to the fire, insiders hint that the deal wasn't merely a straightforward signing. There are murmurs that the Eagles engaged in complex negotiations, navigating salary cap intricacies, and perhaps even offering creative incentives to lure Overshown away from the Cowboys' grasp. The secrecy surrounding the talks has only intensified curiosity. Fans are left imagining clandestine meetings, strategy sessions in dimly lit boardrooms, and phone calls that might have included last-minute twists to seal the deal. While no official confirmation has been issued beyond the preliminary announcements, sources close to both franchises claim that Overshown's arrival in Philadelphia was anticipated to be a game-changer from the outset. It's a move that could redefine draft strategies, alter defensive playbooks, and perhaps even change the narrative of the season itself. If this rumor holds, the Eagles aren't just adding a player. They're adding a symbol of their ambitions, a visible signal to the entire league that they intend to play for keeps. Speculation is also rife about how Overshown will integrate into the Eagles' defensive schemes. Analysts suggest that his speed and coverage ability open up possibilities for creative blitz packages and hybrid linebacker roles that the Eagles have been teasing but never fully executed. Imagine an Eagles linebacker who can both contain the run and shadow the fastest tight ends with precision. This is the kind of versatility that turns defenses from competent to terrifying. Rumors even suggest that teammates are thrilled at the prospect, with some reportedly calling him a secret weapon in practice sessions. Sources hint at locker room chemistry building even before his official arrival, with veterans reportedly reaching out to welcome him and discuss strategy, signaling that Overshown's impact could be felt almost immediately. Meanwhile, opponents are reportedly adjusting their game plans already, aware that the arrival of such a dynamic linebacker changes not only who they target, but how they approach every snap. For those who have watched Overshown's rise from promising rookie to defensive standout, the Eagles' acquisition is almost poetic. A player whose talents were nurtured under the bright lights of Dallas now poised to wreak havoc against the very offense he once opposed. Rumors continue to swirl about the timing and optics of this move as well. Some insiders speculate that the Eagles deliberately timed the announcement to maximize psychological pressure on the NFC East rivals, knowing that a mid-season revelation could alter the emotional landscape of key matchups. The narrative writes itself. A linebacker who once terrified one team now becomes their worst nightmare. This isn't merely about stats and tackles. It's about momentum, mindset, and intimidation. Sports commentators are already theorizing that this single addition could tilt crucial playoff games in the Eagles' favor. The buzz surrounding Overshown's potential debut in Philadelphia is reaching fever pitch, with fans eagerly analyzing past game footage to predict how his presence might transform the Eagles' defensive identity. While the deal is still technically shrouded in secrecy regarding the finer contractual details, the overarching storyline is undeniable. Philadelphia is sending a clear message to the rest of the league, and especially to Dallas, that they are all in on a championship run. In addition, the human drama behind the rumor adds another layer of intrigue. Overshown himself has reportedly expressed excitement about joining a squad he believes has the talent, leadership, and vision to finally break through to the top. Sources close to him suggest that this move wasn't solely about money or prestige, it's about legacy. There's talk of long-term ambitions, mentorship opportunities with rising defensive stars, and the chance to etch his name into Eagles history. Rumors even hint at a subtle personal rivalry element, with Overshown motivated by the idea of directly competing against his former teammates, bringing a competitive fire that could be a defining factor in high-stakes matchups. Fans are already speculating on the iconic moments this partnership could produce. A bone-crunching tackle in a playoff game, a game-changing interception, or a highlight reel blitz that sends the crowd into a frenzy. The mere anticipation of such plays has fueled speculation across sports media, making Overshown's potential impact one of the hottest topics in the NFL rumor mill. All of this combines to create an atmosphere thick with anticipation, speculation, and yes, a little controversy. The Eagles' apparent acquisition of DeMarvion Overshown is more than a roster move. It's a storyline, a narrative loaded with tension, rivalry, and high-stakes ambition. Fans, analysts, and rivals alike are watching with bated breath, trying to decipher what this means for the rest of the season, the NFC East, and ultimately, the championship chase. Will Overshown become the defensive anchor the Eagles hope for, the difference maker who propels them to a title, or will the weight of expectation prove challenging to meet? The rumor mill has spoken, and the consensus seems clear. Philadelphia has taken a bold gamble, one that could either pay dividends in spectacular fashion or become a legendary what-if tale in NFL history. For now, the whispers grow louder, the speculation wilder, and the anticipation almost unbearable. One thing is certain. If these rumors are true, the Eagles' defense just became the team to watch, and DeMarvion Overshown might just be the spark that sets the NFC on fire. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your fellow NFL fans. Stay tuned for more updates, only here on NFL News Now.